Hello, online crew. Just thought we'd have a chat today about the situation with Modere closing and just sort of the future of the industry. There's a lot of chatter, around, and this was huge for not only everybody in Modere, but obviously the industry and people's thoughts on the industry. So last week I delivered the content creation boot camp all week. So there wasn't kind of that opportunity for this conversation. So I just thought I'd address it, although, we're almost a couple of weeks down the track now. There's some really important things that I think we should talk about around this situation and for people in the industry to evaluate and also to put in perspective. So if you are joining me live, say hello, let me know you're here. Those in my coaching community, we just finished the live Q&A Zoom call number 1 for April 2025, and I'll do live Q&A Zoom call number 2 tonight in my time zone for those UK, Germany, Europe time frame. So make sure you catch the recording of that if you're a coaching community member, because we covered a lot of really cool things. So let's go back to the situation. If anybody's listening that is unaware of, if you're an industry person, I'd be surprised if you're unaware of the situation with Modere, but just in case there's somebody listening that is unaware of the situation, obviously almost 2 weeks ago, Modere, which is a big company, been around for 23 years, I think, obviously closed its doors. Unfortunately, it closed its doors right before payday. So there was no warning, no, we're going to close in a few months' time and winding down. It's just like, we are shut. You can't get into your back offices. We're not going to pay you. The company is done. So massive, massive, massive shock. And for anybody in this industry who makes it a full-time thing, like a full-time gig, that's just like income, gone, just overnight. Like, I can't imagine the leaders and what they would have been thinking and feeling and the stress, for everybody involved. So obviously, from an industry perspective, so sad and disappointing and upsetting, not only for those in Modere, but for the industry to lose a large company like that. And, all the good things and all the people that have used their products in a really positive way, the flow-on effect from it is huge. So obviously feel for anybody in that situation that's been through that. So putting into perspective business-wise around that, there is a lot of people that, see those kind of announcements and say the industry is doomed. What's happening to the industry? It's happening anywhere. There is everywhere. There's no doubt that there's been a lot of that, or companies going affiliate model only, particularly in the last, 2 to 3 years. So we are hearing more and more of it. We're hearing more and more of it because social media spreads like wildfire around it. Probably what you don't realize is when social media wasn't such a thing, there were still companies closing like in previous times. We just didn't hear as much about it as we do like these days, like news spreads like that through social media. So we hear it more quickly. But our industry is no different to any other, business and industry out there. There are, unfortunately, businesses closing all the time in all industries. So it's not just unique to our industry, despite what a lot of people may think. Their social selling network marketing industry is doomed. This is happening everywhere. There are a lot of businesses closing their doors, all the time. You just don't know about it. You don't hear about it. So as far as the industry goes, there's nothing wrong with our industry moving forward. There is a very thriving network marketing industry moving forward. You've just obviously got to pick the right home to align yourself with. But I wouldn't be getting nervous about the industry overall if that's where your thinking goes. It's just a matter of finding yourself with a solid home to align yourself with. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think of the industry? There's certainly a lot of nervousness around the industry about network marketing companies becoming affiliate model only. But that really does come down to ownership of the company and the business decisions that people are making. We need to pivot. Every business needs to pivot in today's environment with running a business. And so, one of the things that you want to look for is the ownership, and probably private ownership and sole ownership. Too many businesses in this model that are run by investors. Investors just look at a bottom line, and unfortunately that's what happened to Modere. We had heard along the way that Modere's sales were way down, particularly in the last 12 months. That's not any kind of insider information. It was just kind of industry talk that their sales were 40% down from the year before. So I guess if you'd heard that, there were definitely, I guess, an element of concern. But nobody in Modere deserved to have their business pulled rug under their feet like that. That's just, it's really quite disgusting how that happened. And, how, they just closed the doors and filed for bankruptcy. The lessons we need to take from that, all of us in this industry though, and even those leaders that lost their incomes overnight, if they didn't turn up on social media and just spruik the company, and they actually turned up on social media with a brand, a personal brand, targeting a certain demographic and solving a particular problem, they will be absolutely fine to build elsewhere. I cannot express to you how important, have been for years, how important it is in this industry to have your own identity and stand behind your own brand in this industry. It is a very strong reminder that we do not own at the company that we align ourselves. You don't own the products, you don't own the distribution, you don't own the pricing, you don't make decisions, at that corporate level. You don't own anything other than what you create for yourself. So what you want to do moving forward, any of you in any business and anybody in Modere who's moving forward, 1, build an audience. Anybody that was in Modere that has been affected by this, if they have an audience and they have a brand, they'll be fine because they'll just rebuild elsewhere. They'll find a new home that fits for them, that aligns with them, and they will be absolutely fine. Those of you that make everything on social media about your company, it's not a good move. You don't own that company. So when the company closes, a big part of your social media kind of closes, your business closes. But if you build an audience and a reputation and a brand around, a particular group of people, your target market that you are talking to, and the problems that you solve for those people, then you can align yourself with different products that align with you moving forward, and you can carry on just fine. Do you hear what I'm sort of sharing here? This is how important, and I've been saying it for years and years, how important building a personal brand is on social media. Don't make your whole social media about the company and what the company sells. What problems do you solve? So lead with your brand, the problems that you solve, not the product. Nobody cares what the product is. They care what the product does. Do you see how important, even more important with what happened with Modere, how personal branding is on social media? The other thing you want to look at is, when it comes to social media, is your connections, and getting more serious about how are you collecting leads and what do you actually own as far as how you're showing up on your social media. Now, you don't own your Facebook. It can be taken away from you. You don't own TikTok. You don't own Instagram. You don't own any of the platforms. but you do own emails, okay? So if you have funnels, and some of you are not ready for this, I get that, but this makes it so important to build skills in this industry. And don't just do what your company tells you to do. Don't just put out company graphics. Don't just put out company videos. It's the company is not important. The company could come and go, but you are a human being that's putting your energy into building your business, your content. You attract the leads through the content you put out there. So how are you attracting kind of those leads, and what information are you collating on those leads? So if you're only on social media with a social media messenger type connection, it's pretty dangerous. You think about all those people in Modere, they just got locked out of their back offices like that. Now, you think if that happened to you in your company and you lost all the data of all your customers and all the data of even your team members and their phone numbers and their addresses and whatever, if you've got a team and you've got customers, like all that data is just gone. Why? Because they don't own it. The company owned it. So this is a real reality check. What do you own with what you're doing? Are you building your own brand? Are you building your own audience? Are you learning how to, even if it's manually, collect an email address? Because you can still communicate with people via email if something dramatic went wrong with your following. You lost your Facebook, you lost your Instagram, you lost your TikTok. If you've got email addresses, you can still communicate with people and go, oh my gosh, I've just lost all my social media, but here's the update or whatever. Like, really think about the skills that you're building, online. And when it comes to the perfect company, like no one in Modere would have had any idea that was going to happen. And it was a good company on the surface of it. Obviously, there was huge financial issues because they filed bankruptcy on the same day they closed the doors. Okay, so obviously behind the scenes, and we're not necessarily going to know that. So what you want to look out for with any of your companies, or if you're ever sort of jumping ship or moving somewhere, ownership of the company. Okay. And because my background is from the corporate world and I lived and breathed for 20 plus years the corporate world with boards, you know what I mean by, like around a boardroom table, lots of opinions, lots of bosses, lots of meetings. Any of you work in corporate or have worked in corporate and you go to meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting and not a lot gets done, you don't want a lot of voices when it comes to ownership of a company of this nature. Like that can lead to trouble. It's just something to take into perspective, like the ownership of it, obviously the financial backing behind it. You've obviously got the products to look into. I wouldn't always be looking for the cheapest products, which some people in this industry do. They pride themselves on the cheapest product. Why would you pride yourself on the cheapest products? Cheap products mean cheap ingredients, means probably cheap manufacturing, means cutting quarters. Cheap doesn't mean quality. So, the efficacy of the products, how the products are made, are they clinically tested, all that, that's something you need to look at. So ownership you need to look at. Products you need to look at, and the efficacy of how they're made and the ingredients and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, the comp plan, you want to look at that. No comp plan is going to be 100% perfect. And like, I know our comp plan is the best. No, our comp plan is the best. Everybody thinks in their companies that everything is the best. You will never find the perfect company with every single element that I'm talking about here that is absolutely perfect. Like, it just doesn't exist. We need to get realistic about that. And there will never be like a perfect comp plan for everybody. There will never be a perfect product combo. Like, there's always going to be little bits and pieces that, are not perfect, and that's fine. My previous company, or the previous, I was with for many years, over 5 years, and that got into trouble. So I'm suddenly in a situation where, what do? I've got a team to look after. I need to look after them quickly. and I moved. And I'm not going to talk badly about that because it was served its purpose at the time, and I made a lot of money very quickly in a very short space of time. So if it's all about the comp plan, I would have stayed there. But I made not only a lot of money, I made a 40 grand bonus check on top of making, a lot of money in only a few months, like a very short time frame. If it's all about the comp plan and it's all about the money, I might still be there. But it's not all about the money. It's not all about the comp plan. Like don't get all caught up on that either. It is a combination of things that make a really good company. Okay, so the ownership is one. Like the products and the efficacy of the products, a good comp plan that sets people up for success in the beginning, as well as obviously as you build. But you've got to set up people to win, from the beginning. It's important. Like if you've got to create too much volume to get like $50, like forget it. You've got to set people up to win at the beginning, like of a comp plan, obviously. The other thing and this is not important, and I know this might upset a few Modere people, but I personally wouldn't go to a company that's starting from scratch, and no matter who was leading it. And I wish, all the people that are Modere that are going to the new company that's been created, like I wish you all absolutely all the best, and it's being run by brilliant people, like supporting people in the industry. I personally wouldn't want to start with a company that's not already established in some ways. Okay, just personal opinion. Okay, so looking at runs on the board, growth, has there been growth every year for the last X amount of years, however, that it's not startup, that it's got, it's got potential, hasn't been around, necessarily forever and ever. But if they have and they've been growing, awesome. Like just do a little bit of research about that. I don't want to offend anybody. It's just my personal opinion. I wouldn't go with a startup company. I think maybe in previous years to go ground floor opportunity, all that kind of stuff. The people at the top, they'll be fine. But it's all the other little people that I get concerned about. Okay. The other thing that you want to really hone in on with choosing a good company is these days it's got to be systems, duplication, Facebook groups, all of that established. Like in our team, we actually build we have funnels that our team can duplicate for social media that collect email addresses so they own something. Like you want to have that kind of leadership. You want to have that kind of system and duplication. You shouldn't walk into a team and need to create anything. Like go into a team that's got everything established, got the Facebook groups established, got the leaders that are doing the training for you and the calls for you and all the rest of it. That has been an absolute blessing to me this time round with where I'm now, because I don't have to create anything new. It's all there. I tap into it. I tap my team into it. So that's the kind of thing in this day and age on social media with attraction marketing. If you want to build online, you need systems and duplication and make it easier for your team. You shouldn't have teams all doing their own individual thing. You want to look for that really strong sort of leadership. And you might not find a company with every single one of those things that are perfect, and that's okay. The biggest thing that you as an individual with any company, no matter what company that is that you believe in it. Belief is your biggest asset with being successful in this industry. If you believe in the products and you believe in the company and you believe in the leaders and you believe in the comp plan and you believe, you'll be fine. And you've built an audience and, a personal brand, and you're learning the skill of, funnels and collecting email addresses, because you don't own your social media. If you're not thinking about that in this day and age, then what would happen if your company closed tomorrow with whatever company that you're in? What have you got to fall back on? Do you have an audience? Do you have a personal brand that you've been building over time? And do you have any email addresses to connect with anybody? If you don't have any of those three things, you're pushing up against it. Okay. So one, you want to build your audience. The audience is yours. Okay. So you build an audience that know, like, and trust you. That comes from your content. But your content, you want to have a specific target market, and also know what problems you solve for that target market, and give really good value. Good advice, good tips, good information. Don't make it all about the company or all about the product. Okay, you need more than that in this day and age in social media. And I know those people that were unfortunately lost their businesses overnight in Modere just recently. If they have an audience and they have a personal brand and they have connections with the audience offside social media, that they're going to be fine. They're just going to rebuild probably bigger and better somewhere else, wherever they choose, that to be for them. And that just comes down to belief. It doesn't matter where you go, you've just got to believe in it. So everyone's just got to find what aligns with them, and that's going to be different for everybody. But if you believe in it, you can build anything. You could actually, even like the worst company with the worst products, if somebody believes in those products and they build an audience and a brand around those products, they could still be successful because of their belief in what they do. So you got to hang on to that belief in the industry. The industry is still awesome. It will continue to be awesome. You've just got to make sure you protect yourself in this industry by building your own audience and building your own personal brand. And when you're ready for it, building like the social media equity through like funnels and collecting email addresses and stuff like that. And that may not be you initially, but if you're serious about building in this industry, you want to look for those kind of things and see if your leaders can help you with that. Like I said, our team now, actually, we have funnels that our team can actually duplicate to collect those email addresses. We're just on a team call yesterday, and one of the girls that was speaking has just got 23 leads in, what was it, this was it this week or something, or the last couple of weeks, just by using these funnels. Like, think of those kind of things moving forward for your business, for your team, from your leaders. It's really important that we look at these kind of modern things. So if anything did happen to happen to your company, you can still rebuild somewhere else because you've got an audience, you've got a brand, and you've got like an email list. Okay, does that all make sense? Hopefully it does. Dean said, wonderful advice, Helen. Okay. Sharon, working hard on the A at the moment, sick of cricket. So A takes time. A takes time, but you build an audience by having a personal brand. So really have a good think about how you're showing up, who you're talking to, and what problems you solve. And everything that we went through last week in the content creation bootcamp, having like your content buckets so that you're entertaining, you're giving value, you're sharing good, valuable information, around how you choose to brand yourself, and you will grow audience over time. But it does take time. We don't grow audiences like that. People need time to get to know, like, and trust us, and the trust comes from consistency. So when you are consistent on your social media with the message, with the value and the entertainment and the engagement on a consistent basis, people will start to trust you. But if you are in and out of your social media, you sometimes talk about your products, you sometimes talk about your business, and then for 3 weeks you don't, and then one post you do, but there's not a lot of trust that gets built over time. So this is where consistency in building your audience and building your brand and building the skill of building online, including somewhere along the line funnels and collecting emails, it is just so important for your future. Okay, so if anything happened to your company, you could just turn around, rebuild bigger than better wherever you choose to go. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. Just food for thought. We don't want any of you losing your businesses overnight. We want you to be able to fall back on some things if it did happen. But please be assured that the industry is thriving. It will continue forever and a day. You've just got to find, the right home for you. Okay. So I look forward to joining you tomorrow. I'll see you live then.